Welcome to Werkhours
Bro.
E10.
Work.
Whoa.
So
Finally.
we are finally here with Zay. We're
what's good?
at Matches,
Yep.
our humble beer pub abode
Yep.
Matches.
But it is 11 a.m.
It is 11 a.m.
So we got some coffee.
Got some coffee.
We got some coffee, so
A little
we'll
different
Healthy.
vibes.
Bang, Sean, one shot.
One shot.
Fuck.
Yeah. So, I mean, Zay, this is your first time at Matches.
Yeah, no, I like just walking around the side. I was like, whoa, this place is different.
No, because
Like-
you've been wanting to visit, right?
Yeah, no, it
Because
looks
you-
cool. Like I saw it, and I was like,
Yeah.
it's got a homey vibe to it. So I was
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
I rock with it.
Yeah, so just I guess another shout out to Matches because we've been shooting how many episodes now?
This is our
9th
9th or 10th?
Really? No,
No,
9.
9th. Yeah.
Okay.
Numbers are hard.
So it's been about 9 episodes here at
yeah.
Matches, and we've been coming here really often.
Mm-hmm.
They got the
So-
VIP discount, the golden card membership.
There is this guilt though because
Yeah.
now I feel like I only come here when we have a shoot.
Oh no.
So
well,
I need to make
that's
more
not.
effort.
I've been coming here a little bit, so that's just you, not me. But yeah, so I guess since we're not drinking beer today, just want to give a special shout out to Matches for always providing us a
Always
wonderful
providing
vibe.
that spark for us.
Yes, and then we have something else on the table today.
Hey, yo, what's that? What's in the box?
In the box, time
Open
to
the box.
unbox it. So we got some Old Fairy donut.
Shout out to Old
Um,
Fairy, best donuts in
Wow,
Seoul.
now it kind of feels like it's sponsored, but it's actually not sponsored.
Do not
this is actually
worry.
there's actually a story behind this, right?
This is it too. Do not worry, be happy.
Do not worry, be
But
happy.
it's
I mean, how could you not be happy with these?
Donut worry.
These are literally the best donuts in Seoul.
Yes.
Really?
Look at my favorite.
Hashtag not sponsored.
I haven't
Hashtag
had a
not
donut
sponsored.
in like years.
I don't really know what the concrete story is, but we bumped into each other randomly
Donut store?
in front of this donut
Old Fairy
store.
donut.
Oh really?
And then we've been talking about. I was telling him, there's the best one is the butter pistachio.
Cap.
Wait, how do you pronounce pistachio? Is it pistachio, or is it
Pistachio.
pistachio or is it pistachio? Is it pistachio?
Pistachio.
Pistachio?
Pistachio.
Pistachio.
I don't eat it, so I don't really know.
And then he was like, I don't eat
Pistachio.
It's not a part of the culture.
And then I was like, no, but this is different. Like, this is so good.
different.
And he's like, no, but have you tried this flavor? I'm like, no, but have you tried that flavor?
Raspberry.
So
peanut
today
butter,
is actually
the
like
best.
the
We
showdown.
can decide.
Oh.
So yes.
Today's a showdown where
And then so we have our opinions.
Yeah.
And then we have
And then we have
yours as someone who
you.
hasn't had a donut in forever.
yeah.
Like, yo.
And
this
we
is
also have
serious.
Yena's opinion, so
Yes.
we'll have
Yo.
Damn.
The Old
Yeah.
Fairy. You don't know this, but you're about to get roasted.
Yeah, so we're gonna
Let's
maybe we'll
go.
start off by giving donuts a taste. It is 11 a.m., so it's a little early for
Really.
sugaries, but
Hey, let me get the magic moment, the opening.
oh,
Damn donuts.
Oh, good job.
근데 이거 한번 먹어보고 가세요.
사장님도
사장님
와서 한번 평가 주세요.
이거 잠깐만.
아
진짜요? 먹어봤어요?
What's your favorite?
들어오세요.
맞아.
여기 들어오세요.
이게 잠깐만 여기 잠깐 앉아요.
안 봤어요.
근데 먹어봤어요? 다 모든 맛? 오케이, 그러면 눈 감고 같이 이거 하자. Let's do it together. 눈 감고 테이스트 테스팅을 할게요.
The funny thing is, I'm cutting these really, really tiny so that we have more to eat later. All right, so what we'll do, he'll have this one first, and then she'll have the other one first. Okay. Open wide. Oh.
뭐 평가 10점 만점에 몇 점 줄 것 같아요?
방금 먹은 거요?
네.
Eyes closed.
근데 저 방금 먹은 거 원래 좋아하는 맛인데
오.
얘긴 이름을 말하지 말고
말하지 말고
약간 평가 몇
10점 만점에 9점.
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 저는 I think I'd give it a 5.
Nom 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 nom.
I think I'd give this a 6 out of 10.
저는 첫 번째 게 더 제 스타일이에요. 두 번째 건 우리 엄마가 좋아하는 스타일이고.
어머니가 뭘 좋아하시나요?
엄마 이런 스트로베리 뭐 이런 거 되게 좋아하시는데.
오.
라즈베리.
아, 그래요?
그런 안에 잼 들은 거 있잖아요.
전 아직까지도 스트로베리 맛을 못 느꼈는데요.
Just look at the happiness on his face as he eats it. So good.
I think I'd give this 6 out of 10 too.
저도 6점. 약간 아는
맛.
So, for you, the first 1등 is, so you gave two of them
The
6
same.
out of 10.
Yes.
Which one out of the two is number one? The second or the third? The first or the second?
The
Second or the third?
yeah, the second is yeah. Pressure.
I think I would give the second one the higher placing.
So we'll call that a 7 out of 10. And then for you,
저도 first one.
first one. That makes
Wait.
me the winner.
No.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. No.
표정이 안 좋아졌어. 우리가 이거
So to be fair, the first one you got,
Yeah.
it didn't have a lot of cream because it's all pushed
But he
in
doesn't
the
like
back.
the cream.
Right.
The raspberry filling. You don't like that
I
because you said it was plain.
right.
The first one.
There was no raspberry.
Because it's like because I was trying not to spill it.
Yeah.
Because there's a ton in here, so we'll let you do another bite, and then
Okay, and now this is our turn.
Wait, is raspberry your
so I like these two. I like raspberry
Yeah.
and peanut butter.
Can I taste the raspberry with the
Yeah.
cream?
Cream.
So if you can cut it.
And then
I guess it's my turn to try pistachio.
I think that now it's our turn to try, because I don't think I've ever tasted
Peanut butter.
peanut butter before, and you've never tasted pistachio. So
I'm gonna find out I'm allergic to pistachio and just break out in hives.
no.
All right.
아니에요, 괜찮아요.
So it wasn't plain.
No, it wasn't plain.
All right, I'm gonna feed you. You're gonna feed me. You ready?
Okay.
Noms 3. Oh wait. We gotta switch.
Why are we so
I don't know.
Guys, 11 a.m. It's a good mix.
Jack.
I do love chocolate for donuts, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't.
You don't? Damn.
Oh man, that pistachio and raspberry is pretty good.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah. Wait, so Hugh, tell
good
us about
combo.
your raspberry donut story.
Oh yeah.
No, I remember when I was young, I don't like something about Dunkin' Donuts
So good.
was such a like a treat. You know what I mean? It's not something you get often,
Yeah.
but mom would like come home one day with like a box of donuts and you'd be like, "Damn, what day is it today?" But I remember every time she would have, so there's something very similar to this raspberry donut in Dunkin' Donut. And I remember thinking when I was young that hell, I hated this type of donut. Donuts to me were always like there's gotta be a circular thing at the in the middle. So essentially there's no filling. It's always what's on top, not what's in the filling. Because at that point, then it's not a donut.
I feel you on that.
It's a cake.
Ooh.
Do you know what I mean?
I've gotten into heated debates over this.
But nah, yeah. But I mean, you know, it still tastes great now.
So is this a donut or a cake?
I'm just saying, the ones with the hole is a
But-
donut.
It's a pastry.
Why is it called donut? Do you think it might have been because
The origins
mom
of
was like,
donut.
do not eat it. Do not.
The word donut comes from dough and nut. It first appeared in print in Washington Irving's History of New York, referring to small-sized, nut-sized balls of fried dough. Huh.
Oh,
back
nut
then,
sized.
they were often made with nuts or filled with nuts. Later, bakers began punching holes in the middle to help cook the dough more evenly. Hence, the modern ring shape. The shortened spelling of donut became popular, especially after Dunkin' Donuts helped popularize it. Huh.
Dunkin' Donuts been around longer
Damn.
than Krispy Kreme? Which one's been there the longest?
Maybe.
So if Krispy Kreme came first, we almost called these Krispy Kreme.
Krispy Kreme nuts.
Krispy Kreme nuts.
Cream nuts.
So this is technically the original donut shape. It doesn't need to have a hole.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Wow.
It's just to cook it more evenly that they punched a hole in it,
Dang.
which makes interesting.
You know, this is so funny because we've been talking, I think the past 30 minutes just raving about
Yeah.
donuts.
Fucking love donuts.
We
Yeah.
never even gave a proper
Proper
introduction.
introduction, yeah.
Oh.
We just made Zay like film things and
Yeah.
like,
Oh no, I'm here for it. So I'm Zay. I moved to Seoul probably in 2022. I used to live in Daegu and then in Mokpo before that. If you don't know where Mokpo is, you can take a ferry to Jeju from there. But yeah, I came here and a lot of people when they first met me was like, "Oh, that's that crazy guy who just runs a lot." But it's I don't know, like running is kind of been a conduit to a lot of things that have gone through my life in regards to kind of processing my life in general and just in connecting with other people and just having a better healthy state of mind, which I think is huge for a lot of people. So I always try to encourage my friends to stay active, and that's how my running actually started. So like I just had this epiphany this past weekend as I was playing frisbee in Busan, and there's this big beach tournament called Bids, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, I think I started running because I was playing frisbee. So like I've always ran like in school and like to stay in shape and stuff like that. And then when I first started playing frisbee, first off, I thought it was a dumb sport. Would have never played it. In the States where I was at, it was a silly sport. I wouldn't have even called it a sport then. And yeah, and so we were playing, and I realized, oh, this is actually fun. I caught my first score, and I was like, you know? And then I was like, yo, I actually kind of want to get good at this. And I wasn't really good at throwing. We talked about it earlier. It was like, when I was first started throwing, it was just going straight into the ground. So I was like, but I could catch, you know? And so it was more, I was focused on trying to get in better shape. So I used to run like maybe once or twice a week. And so I got to a point to where I was like trying to run a little bit more, a little bit further, and a little bit more frequently to be in better shape. And then around that time when I really got into frisbee, COVID kind of happened. And then when COVID happened, everything was shut down. I was in Daegu, like I was in the epicenter of the whole thing. Like it's so funny. I ended up on Good Morning America randomly. So a friend of mine was like, "Hey, yo, there's a local news station that wants to, see what's going on in Korea with COVID." And I was like, "Oh, cool." So I get out, I just put a jacket on, just halfway awake, and I'm like, "Yeah, there's no one out here because of COVID, and it's empty." And just like not thinking anything of it. And then my best friend's mom messages me on Facebook. He's like, "Oh my God, you're on Good Morning America." I was like, "What the like, what?" But yeah, and so from that, so a lot of places shut down. Like you couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't go to the gym or anything. But for some reason, my gym in Daegu was open, so I went to the gym, and I would always because I think people, I wouldn't say let it be an excuse for them not to be active, but things being closed, they were like, "Oh, I can't go out, I can't be active, I can't exercise." So what I was doing was I would go to the gym, I'd film a workout, and then I would just tag my friends that I wanted to be more active, that I knew were active prior to, but COVID kind of slowed them down a bit. And I would tag them, and it would be like #FitFam. And then they would just re-tag it, to kind of encourage the movement. Right. And then I really got into running, and then the whole Black Lives Matter thing happened. There's a guy, Ahmaud Arbery, who was shot in his neighborhood. He lived in a predominantly white neighborhood. I lived in a predominantly white neighborhood, and it really resonated with me. And so in July, I think in 2021, I raised like money for Black Lives Matter, because like being here in Korea, you're so far away from that, and you want your voice to be heard, you want to show that you're there. And it was a very really pressing matter in the States at the time, and COVID, I couldn't do it, so. And also the fact that during COVID we couldn't even organize really, we couldn't like be grouped up. So running was a way for me to do that. And I did that. It's the first time me like consecutively running like that. So the whole month of July, I think we raised like maybe $3,000. We gave to his mom. And then in January 2022, in January 2022, I tried my first, it was like January 1st or January 2nd. I think it was January 1st. I got back to Daegu and was like, you know what? I'm going to run a half marathon today. I'd kind of been pushing it when I was doing the thing in July. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. So I go running. And I get to about 15K. I'm just on a track. And next thing I know, I look at my watch. I'm like, okay, let me put my head down and just finish. I'm pounding. I get to the point where it's like, okay, I've done a lot. Let's see where I'm at now.
Yeah.
16K.
Wow.
I'd only gone like a K more, and I was like, yo, I'm done.
Yeah.
And then, but that day, I told myself that this year in 2022, I was like, I'm going to run or was it 2022? Yeah, in 2022, I was like, I'm going to run. No, I'm sorry, in 2021. I was like, I'm going to run a half marathon. And then I kind of whispered to myself, I was like, and a marathon. And because it's like I strongly believe that what you say to yourself, like your body listens, you know. And enough times if you say things and you do them when you're tired and you want to give up, your body will keep going because it knows that you said you're going to do this, so you're going to get it done. You're going to find a way. So COVID happened. I got close contact twice, like almost back to back. So I was in quarantine for essentially a month. Right. And then started my run streak like May 2nd, and I think you guys know that story already, but yeah. Wow. And then just it's come from that. So like Frisbee. It's kind of where that spark kind of started. Yeah. And then it just kind of was a progression of things that, you know, got to a point where, and it's funny because I've had this conversation a lot lately about kind of the point where, so when I finished the challenge in March that year in 2021, I remember sitting on the track and I was just like, you know what? I'm done. I did it. But just something inside me was like, there's still more there. There's still like something like deeper. Like I'm tapping into something good right now. And it's like,
lean into it.
Yeah, it's like lean into, like see what happens. So I was like, you know what? Let's see what April's like. Because I was like, you know, technically I didn't do a whole month because I started March 2nd. So then I did April. And again, I had that same moment where I was just like teetering on like touching to like some untapped potential, you know? And I'm glad that because I had this conversation with myself. I was like, do you feel like you're done? No, like I feel like there's more there.
For sure.
And I'm glad I chose to do more and to keep going. It's really led to deeper connections with friends and a deeper connection with myself too. So yeah.
Are you typically someone who, you know, if you set to do something, you just go all the way, or do you tend to flake and kind of hop between hobbies? And
I'm the type of person where it's like if there's a challenge that I want to do, like I won't say it until I know that it's actually possible. Not that I can do it, but that there's a possibility. So when we first met, I was talking to you guys about running Seoul to Busan. I waited until, so it was like 2022, I ran a 50K. And then in 2023, so in 2023, I met a buddy and he did 100K with me, but prior to that, he ran Seoul to Busan. And I was like, oh, damn, I kind of halfway thought about doing that. Right. And then another buddy of mine, Matt, he came from the States and he ran it. And I was like, you know what? I now know 2 people that have done it, so why not me? And so I waited until after I'd done the 100K. It was my first time doing like a serious ultra marathon. So it's the Trans Jeju 100K. And I waited till after that to kind of see what it would be like on my body. Right. You know, like the weight, the work, all that stuff. And you know, when I finished, I was like, I'm ready. I'm ready. So then I started telling people, hey, I'm going to run Seoul to Busan. And I remember like January the following year in 2024, that's when I was like, you know, I hit up Matt, I hit up Hyunshik, and I was like, hey, I need to talk with you guys. How did you do it? Plan it out. And I was just like, people ask, why the heck did you do it in August, like in the middle of summer? And it's like, that's the time I had to do it. That was just the opportunity for me to do it.
Right.
And it's like, I prepared in a sense of, you was talking about flaking. Like, I think sometimes people have these high ambitions or high expectations of themselves, but they don't necessarily put themselves in the best position to succeed, you know, and that comes from preparation. That comes from the hard work that, you know, it's not the flashy stuff everyone sees, but the hard work of maybe you wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning, you go do a jog, you read, or you do something extra that no one's really seeing. But when it comes time to work, like, they're like, oh shit, how do you do that? Or how did she do that, you know? And so, yeah, so for me, if there's a challenge, I'll think about it. And I'll let it just kind of, and sometimes I'll say I'll run about it, because what I'll do is a lot of times when I do my runs, I'll go for a run and I'll just think about a concept or something I'm trying to work through, or an issue that's going on in my life or something, and by the time I'm done, I'm a little bit closer to a solution kind of deal, or I've figured out something.
Right.
So yeah.
I think, like, because do you feel that people who knew you as, you know, as a child, like, do you think they would look at you now and be like, oh, I knew he'd be like this running, you know, running guy? Or do you think it's kind of like taking them a little surprising how you, you know, evolved, yeah.
I think, like, all through my life, my, like, parents, teachers and stuff, like, well, I was a bad kid when I was really young, but when I got to, like, high school, middle school, I'd always, like, done, like, leadership type stuff, and just I'd been very active in community and helping out and organizing things, to where maybe what I'm doing now isn't the facilities or the way they thought it would be that I would be doing it, but it's like they see where those things I was doing when I was younger are kind of spreading out to the community of what I'm doing here now. And it's like, and I can even see it to where at my university I used to host, like, events and parties and stuff for the school, like, for the whole university, and now it's like I'm getting an opportunity to do that stuff here in Korea, where it's like we're hosting a wellness retreat soon, you know, we have these brunch runs and stuff like that, and it's just, I don't think that you need specific jobs or specific talents to do something, but it's more so if you put yourself in the right position, like through preparation and stuff, you have the opportunity to do these things. Right. How well you do depends on how much work you put in. And I'm not talking about the work today, but the work from before. But yeah.
That's something I noticed when I first met Zay. You know, initially I thought he was just a runner, and he's just running like till the end. But as I got to know him more, something that's bigger than running is what community means to Zay. And he's more of a community leader, right? And I can feel this.
Appreciate that.
And running is just a tool.
It's just a conduit.
Right. And I can feel how much you want to give back and kind of motivate people around you. And it goes to show, I guess, like the strength you put into the community, because you do a group run ever so often, right?
Yeah.
What's it called? Is it the brunch?
So it's, first I want to say thank you for that. That means a lot. Like, in general, I've got two big mottos that I go by nowadays, and it's one, an active life is a healthy life, and a healthy life is a happy life. And then secondly, we move to inspire movement. And so I do these runs. It's not even really just me, but we do these runs because I've got a photographer, I've got an illustrator, I've got a videographer, and then just the community. I ask, you know, what are some pressing things you guys want to talk about, kind of deal. It started because I did this thing called 75 Hard. If you don't know, it's a big challenge. I did it right before I came to Seoul, or I started it before I came to Seoul, and I finished it maybe a month into when I was in Seoul. For 75 days, you follow like a regimented set of rules, where it's like 1, no alcohol, 2, you follow a specific diet, whatever is tailored to you, what you're looking for. You work out twice a day. You read 15 pages of a nonfiction book, and then you drink like 2 liters of water. And you do that for 75 days straight. And so I was doing that, and the books that I was reading, they were very insightful and just mindful. And so I was like, I want to share this with people. So I started posting it, and that's like, I do this thing called Breakfast with Zay. And it's what I read, because what I'll do is I'll read it like on my commute to work kind of deal. And then I was getting a lot of interaction and feedback from that. And then prior to, I'd had people that wanted to run with me, and we'd ran, and so it was a cool experience. But I was like, why can't we incorporate something that has this idea of mindfulness, and not necessarily just positivity, but just introspection, thinking about self and like how you operate in the world around us, and having that, but then also allowing movement, and kind of preaching that, kind of being active and finding positive outlets to stress.
This is during COVID, right?
No, this is like when I first came to Seoul.
Okay.
So like I'd start, so kind of COVID. And so I'd started it, so then I didn't start it until last year. But I had hosted a couple runs. Like I did like a Halloween run, a glow run, a paint run, and stuff like that. But then last year I was like, you know what? I want to do this. And so I told myself, so it's called Brunch with Zay. And each run has a focal point. We run like 7 kilometers. And like this month is Move and Chirp. And so it's about,
Move and
chirp, like talk.
Chirp.
Yapping.
Yeah,
Move and yap.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're doing it at my buddy's place in Songsu. He's got an awesome cafe called Timeeee. Really dope. You should check it out. And so we're gonna run 7K. We have a couple of games, because I want, and the focal point of it is, what made you start moving? What got you excited about being active, kind of deal. And so we'll have a couple games, because like essentially, I think a lot of times people use running as a punishment, especially when you're growing up playing sports. You're like, oh, you mess up, go run a lap, go do this, do that,
Yeah.
And like, but it shouldn't be seen like that,
right?
And so it's just kind of, again, get into the joys of running and stuff, and just chatting about that. So that's one for this month. Last month was Yours Truly. It was about not necessarily what makes you you, but just kind of realizing who you are. So we ran 7K. We actually did it at Linus up the street over there in Itaewon. We ran 7K. We finished, and I had everybody write down on a piece of paper 3 I am statements. So like, I am happy, I am tall, or just 3 things that you think describe you in whatever way you want.
So poetic.
And then you sign
so
it
nice.
with Yours Truly, and you write your name. And then the one thing I do, I'm very particular about this, because I think that when people speak, they're not just speaking because they want to be heard, but they want other people to hear them. And they want to feel like they're being heard by other people. And so when it's like their time to speak, I'm always like, okay. In Korea, it's very common to kind of
not speak.
No, not speak, but like, well, yeah. So people are a little bit shy, but then, and so sometimes people need that platform. So I try to give people a safe space to be able to open up and kind of be who they are and kind of breathe a bit. And so like, I'll say, Tammy, it's your turn to say. So I ask everybody 2 questions. So for this one, it was a little bit different because they had to read what they wrote. So you would start, but I'd say everybody has to be completely quiet. No matter how much you connect with what she just said, or maybe your number 2 thing that you said, or your 3 thing, just completely quiet. Because I think sometimes people aren't as aware of how much your interaction with someone when they're speaking affects what they say. As much as, oh, I had that same experience,
Right.
It steers where she was coming from.
Right.
Like, she might have been talking about how this was a positive experience, but it led to a growth experience, blah, blah, blah. And she might have been using that as a way to talk about that. But then if I chime in, I'm like, oh, man, that was so much fun. It was great, then maybe she doesn't dive as deep this way, and she goes just into, oh, yeah, it was a fun.
Right.
And you can see that type of thing. And so when I started this, it was more of I was like, all right, I want to try this. I'll give it 3 months. So essentially 3 run sessions. And just even after the first one that we did, I could just see how much it meant to the people that were there in that first session, that I was like, this is something I think I should continue to do. Because I think especially in Korea, we don't have as many, I wouldn't say safe environments, but we don't have as many open environments to just not even just be yourself, but learn who you are, you know, and just speak openly about this is kind of how I'm feeling, this is what I'm going through kind of deal. And I think a lot of it you kind of have to hold to your chest, and then or you find negative ways to release that stress.
Right.
And I won't go into those negative ways in Korea, but for those that have been here, like you've seen how some people deal with stress here, and it's like I want to try to show that there's positive outlets to do that. And running, just being active, yoga, or just moving however your body's ready to move, you know.
Are the people who typically join your runs and part of your community, are they typically Koreans, or are they typically like foreigners living in Korea?
It's actually about 60-40, and it might even be more 50-50 nowadays. So the demographics in general, we have, so for these runs I try to have maybe 20 to 25 people. I mean, I kind of cap it because if there's too many people, it goes super long.
20 already sounds like a lot.
Yeah. And so that's one factor. And then two, I'm not really posting it on anything, like it's just through my social media, so it's like friends of friends of friends of friends, or like someone seen it here, so it's predominantly English speakers, I'll say that, but Koreans welcomed, and sometimes we have people who are bilingual so they can help translate and stuff like that, so it's open to everybody. In general it's about 60-40 foreigners and Koreans, but like I said, it's mainly in English. I have about 60-40 when it comes to new people, old people. So like returning people is about 60%, like 40 is, there's always at least a good handful of new people that come. And like I said, this isn't a run crew. This isn't a run club. These are run events for the community, or more so movement events for the community. And so yeah, it's just,
Damn. Wow. I think you're hitting such a pivotal moment in like just as a society in general, right? Where COVID was such a huge lesson in the sense where we were living our hectic lives, and then we go into this isolation period where a lot of people were forced to be introspective, right? And how to express that was always such a hard obstacle. And so during that time there was a lot of people like showcasing as to how they would express, so a lot of people would also learn from that. But what's so tricky is that now that we've come out of it, there are some people that are continuing to build on to this really healthy way to express their introspective learnings, but there's also a group of people that are exploiting this, where they say now, you know, just in the topic of working from home, the whole concept comes from trying to maximize efficiency for your work, right? But it's not a lie that some people do exploit that, where it becomes like, yo, I just want to chill. You know, but I think what you're doing is adding on to that really healthy way to express that introspectiveness. Hell, even like starting a conversation where, you know, you're living a hectic life, take a pause, take a breather, and let's share what we've learned thus far.
And it's like I said, like running's like a huge conduit, because I think when you're active and you're moving and you're sharing this experience, this struggle or this bit of discomfort from running, whether it's 7K, 3K, 10K, whatever, after that you're always a lot more open to you let your guard down a little bit, and like some people have tried to exploit this in the sense of like they've tried to create business but business kind of opportunities where it's like, oh, run and then come buy these clothes, kind of, because people are more likely to do that.
Right.
There's like a psychology behind it, but I like it because it makes people, again, more open and in that shared experience that they have. And so these are complete strangers. Like, again, some of these are people that never even met each other, but they're telling their story because, again, they want it to be heard. They want to breathe. And so it's been a cool journey. And even for me, like running, was really impactful for me. It helped me process a lot of stuff that happened to me, and it's one of those things where it's like, if you know me, you know kind of stuff I've been through. So it's like it's really helped me process it to where I'm cool with talking about things now. But again, if I didn't have running, I wouldn't be the same person I am right now.
Right.
And I think that it's kind of pushed me into kind of uncomfortable positions, kind of with myself in regards to challenging, kind of being a focal point or kind of leading hard conversations with some people, you know, like having these talks with people like that want to dive into this kind of mindfulness talk, this like I said, I went to the gym today and did some yoga and stuff, and something hit me. I heard it's like, if you want peace, you have to be willing to go to war with yourself. And it's like having those hard talks with yourself, having those hard talks with other people. And it's funny, like I was chatting with a buddy, and you know, like the Physical 100, right? And the 2 winners that won, they're all related. They did CrossFit. Not related, but they did CrossFit.
Yeah.
And the thing is, CrossFit isn't about, I know I'm kind of hopping a bit, but CrossFit isn't about getting stronger physically.
Right.
It's getting stronger mentally. And that's what running's done for me, because like with CrossFit, it teaches you to keep going even when your mind wants to quit and you're at that breaking point.
It's pushing that
and
limit.
It's just like just using whatever little bit of energy you have left to just keep going, because a lot of times your body wants to quit before, but your mind can push it further.
Right.
And it's just having that mentality of, it's like, I'm gonna get this done. Kind of same thing when you, going back to the question you asked me, like when I commit to something, am I flaky? It's like, no, it's like if I commit something, I'm either gonna accomplish it or I'm gonna learn from it, kind of deal. And so, but again, I try to put myself in situations where I'm prepared to succeed.
Right.
And so, like I said, like we're working on kind of doing like a wellness retreat in Jeju in a couple months, and it's like it's nerve-wracking because it's something I've never done, but it's like I feel like it's something that could be good for people.
You're making them run Halasan?
Nah, it's like it's gonna be
around
like
the island. 1 lap, 2 lap. Let's go.
1 hour.
Move.
Let's move, fam. No, it's like so there's this really nice hotel resort we're working with, and we're gonna do yoga. They got a dope pool. We've got DJ session for like the social, and then a run, a little bit of mindfulness stuff, but just, you know, something that's a breather, but at the same time, it's like, because for me, when I travel places, I don't just travel just to go party or do whatever. Like I have purpose for going there, like whether it's a race or there's a tournament or something. Like that's what I travel for. And kind of maybe sharing that kind of energy with people, where it's like, hey, you're going here for this. Right. It's not just let's get rowdy kind of thing. Like you can, like, there's obviously work-life balance, you know, but it's just making sure it's actually balanced, versus just saying it.
Right. And when is that? When are you going?
It'll be July 12th and 13th. Right. So we'll send some stuff out. I didn't mean for this to be a buzz for that, but we'll send some stuff out in the next couple weeks.
Damn.
That's, you know, you also mentioned like, I don't know if this is, like, is this something you're, you know, because I can see it going both ways, and the answer is being both ways, but do you see this being, do you want this to become like bigger and bigger, or do you like keeping it kind of small and just like, you know, because you mentioned it's like friends and friends, like what's kind of like your like hoped direction with this?
Again, it's just, it goes back to the number 2 saying, like I said, it's like we move to inspire movement. So because it's like, as you're progressing in life, you know, the more that you do, because, well, one, when it comes to success, you have to define that for yourself. And so the more that you do that you feel is successful, you won't always have people cheering for you. You'll have people that cheer for you, but then you have people that cheer silently, you know? And it's like, you have to be able to make decisions and moves regardless of all of that noise, you know? And so it's like, as long as it is insightful and purposeful, I'm happy. You know, if you know, a lot of people want to join for an event, you know, we can set up the parameters for it. But I don't want it to be like oh, you're a part of this, you can't be a part of that, because I feel like there's that's kind of where I feel like a lot of the run clubs are going kind of in Korea, where it's like it's almost like high school, where it's like, oh, you're a part of this club, you can't be a part of that club, and you can't mix and mingle. It's like for my events, because it makes what
It defeats the whole purpose.
Yeah, it defeats the whole purpose of running. Like, there's a great reason to join a run club. There are many great reasons to join run clubs, but I feel that a lot of the times it's getting the focus of run clubs is more on the run club and the status and the brand of the club versus what each person's actually doing. That's why it's like for these events that I have or that we host, it's more about, hey, you guys did this. You did this 7K. You did this 10K. You know, like, you know, here are all the photos you guys, you can have them, you know, tag us if you want, blah, blah, blah. 100%. But, like, it's not like, oh, you're, like, I do want people to have that sense of community, but it's like you shouldn't, like, community comes organically. You know, I've been asked to make, like, a big group chat and all this stuff, and it's like, if you guys want to do that, you know, like, I'm not going to be a ringleader over everybody, you know, it's like, that's not what community's about, you know, and I think that a community is only as strong as the people within it, and it's like, if they only feel strong because they're in the community, then that's kind of a weak community, you know what I'm saying? Like, if the people aren't empowered as they're going, this is not going to politics, but, but it's like, if the people within the community don't feel empowered because of who they are and that they're contributing to the community versus they feel empowered because they are part of the community, then it's like, it's a little
backwards.
There's a lot of it's very backwards. There's a big contrast in what the word community actually means, and I feel like a lot of times where you're saying people are taking advantage of the market for people's desires to be healthy, and I feel like there's a bit of a money grab
for sure
for trying to create community.
You know, one thing that Hugh brought up and one thing you brought up as well was how running for you is just a tool, right? It's just a tool to, you know, bring people together, to make these movements happen. And before running, it was Frisbee, right? And before Frisbee, was there anything like, because now that I'm seeing, like, it isn't just, you know, I'm just gonna run. It's like, you know, there's like a pattern. Was there anything that you were like, or any other ways you're perhaps spreading this?
So just like through like events and communities, stuff like that. Like I said, in university, I hosted like parties and socials for like the whole school. And then just even from here, like, you know, kind of making sure people interact with each other, stuff like that. And like small stuff that you do naturally, you know, when you're with your friends, you want your friends to mix and mingle and that type of stuff. But just kind of more so creating open and safe spaces when you're around people, you know, to where it's like they feel connected, they feel seen, they feel heard. And that's, it sounds like a lot, sounds like a big thing to do, but it's really not. It's just being you, being authentic with other people, you know.
No, it was one thing I kind of do like resonate is I've had so many different kinds of hobbies. Right now I dance a lot.
I saw you're killing it, yeah.
I mean, I'm not great, but you know, I think it's like a very similar. During like a gap year, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna challenge myself to do something I would never do in my life. And then some of it was like taekwondo, or you know, like, or aikido. So I did aikido for like a semester, and then I was like looking at more. I was like, should I continue with aikido or should I do something new? And then that was dance for me.
Wow.
And then so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna like, it's just me putting myself outside of the box, challenging myself something new. I had no idea it was going to mean so much to me in life. And then I came back, so it was like a gap year, and I came back to school, and the first thing I was looking for was like a dance community or like ways to continue dancing. I couldn't find anything. I found one dance crew that I auditioned for, and the audition completely flunked. Like, I got the choreo down, But there was like a freestyle part that I completely flunked, and I had two choices. One was, damn it, I failed, blah blah. The other option was, you know what, I'm just gonna make my own.
Yeah.
So I went up to people I felt like, I noticed who danced. Went up and I'm like, hey, do you want to dance with me? Hey, do you want to dance with me? And then I made my own crew. And then so I think it was kind of like a huge learning experience for me to not like settle for failure, but to find ways to move forward. And I did drumming and I did other things as well. But with all these hobbies, I think the common trait for me was how it was all about people coming together. Dancing didn't have a language. Like, I mean, it has a language on its own, but it felt like I was able to connect to people who I never would be able to connect, right? Like, it's like an unspoken language, if that makes sense.
I think there's such a big teaching there where if you constantly put yourself in a position where you're constantly learning, it just makes you a better and better and better and better person, right? So surrounding yourself with someone who's better than you or someone where you can just learn. Oh, man.
So every year, a buddy of mine, he suggested that I read The Alchemist. I don't know if you've read that book. But, and he's like, yeah, he reads it every year, at least once. And I was like, that's silly. I don't normally reread books.
Yeah.
And he's like, nah, dude, every time I read it, I get a new message from it every time. So I'm currently rereading The Alchemist now.
Yeah.
And something that you said is exactly what I read today.
Yeah.
Where it's like, 'cause it's about searching and finding your personal legend.
Right.
And the line is like, when we strive to become better than we are, everything around us becomes better too. And that's exactly what you were saying. It's like the people around you. And I was like, and it's so crazy. Again, I don't believe in coincidences.
Yeah.
It's all timing. Like, I literally read that on the way here. Right. And then where you're talking about language and movement, and just movement in general doesn't necessarily have a language. It's a universal unspoken language. Right. And there's been times where I've gone running, and like I've been learning Korean, but it's not the best. But I'll go running. Like, I was running in Vietnam one day, and this kid just is like running next to me, and is like, we're running around a lap or a loop, and we're kind of running at the same pace. And so I was like, you run together, I don't speak Vietnamese. Yeah. He's like, and so we run, and we ran, and we took a picture and everything. And then the other day I was coming back from this High Rocks training thing. I'm not training for High Rocks, but I'm doing High Rocks training. But that's a whole nother story. But yeah, so I'm like running back from Gangnam to Itae. Yeah. And I run into this mom and her kid, and I see the kid kind of running. And I can't tell if he's like really running, because kids just run for no reason sometimes. But the kid's running, and I look and I see the mom. She's got like a athletic fit, so I'm like, okay, maybe they're kind of jogging together. And so we get to like just before like the Apgujeong station. So we're at like Gangnam, and we're running down, and I see this kid just like kind of still running with me, and I'm like, let's run together. Let's see what, I don't say anything, but it's just like he's like following behind me. We go through a couple crosswalks, and like I kind of put my hand up to make sure no cars hit him or anything, and just like there was one where a car like would have hit him if I didn't put my hand up, and he just tags along with me, and we get to like enter a crosswalk. Yeah. And he's left his mom. He's pretty much just running with me. And like, so we get to a crosswalk, the lights red, we're waiting, and the mom comes, and I was like, I told her someone's good at running, and then I was like, so where are you going? Like, like, where are you running to? And they're like, to the Han River. It's like, me too. And so I was like, 같이 달리게요. Like, can we run together? And she's like, yeah. And so I pretty much ran with her son. He's like maybe in like third or second, maybe like fourth or fifth grade, and he's just running. Like, we run all the way to the Apgujeong station to where the graffiti tunnel is and everything. And it's so funny because he was running with me, but then we'd like wait for there's a point where we got to another crosswalk, and he's like, let's go. And I was like, let's wait for your mom. And then but it's just so funny, like that just kind of genuine connection just to happen like that. And then we took like a picture and everything, and it was cool. Those are the moments where like running is just, it's more than just running. It's like moving, and it's like, and when you're able to move with other people, that's a movement, you know. And it's like, then when you continue to create that space around other people, and other people see that, and they not necessarily imitate that or emulate that, but more they start doing it on their own too. That's where that sense of community comes from, you know. That's where it's like, that's that organic community that happens versus I'm going to put a bunch of money into this brand or into this running club to get people to want to join. Right. And this is our community. And it's like, that's not what it's about, you know?
I think there's such a, because we're talking about something that's so social and so like tribal, right? Individual like growth. The line between that and capitalism is it's the do or death of a small group that you know, a small firm trying to scale up, or a community that turns into this commercial machine. I think that's something that's so hard to, you know, like it's probably a homework that we all have to do, and we all have to do it by experience.
You have to like internally, like we all have to have this internal
100%
battle with us to come to realize like we define our own terms for our life,
right?
You know,
and like one decision can like ripple effect into something that you and you can't even like take it back. The Pandora box is open, and
just gotta see it through.
But yeah, that's such a hard teaching to like navigate around.
And it's like I had this conversation with my buddy Suman the other day, and we've had this conversation 2 or 3 times now. And he asked me like 2 or 3 years ago, he's like, so what do you want to do with your life? And I was like, well, I don't really know. And it's like, it took me until I was about 28 to be okay with saying that, you know, and just being okay with telling people, I don't know. I'm doing not necessarily just what makes me happy in a hedonistic way. I'm doing it in a sense of, we have all our life to make money.
Right.
We have all our life to be worried and stressed about all this other dumb stuff. Why not live your life now and enjoy it?
Yeah.
But isn't that so hard in
It's
Korea?
hard. It's very hard.
Especially
it's
in
so
Korea.
hard. And it's like people are like, oh, what's your job? Da da da.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, so you're a running influencer. And it's like, the word influencer is so dumb. And it's like, I told him the other day, and it's like, I can finally tell you what I think I want to do. And what I want to do is I want to inspire people to move. I want to inspire people to be active. And it's not that I want to be an influencer. I want to be a light for my community. You know, I don't want to be influencers. I want to be an example of what you can do if you just make a choice. Like, I'm not on a pedestal in any way or anything. I don't want to be. I want people to see me as like, oh, it's just a regular person who decided to make a change and do something different.
Hell, you want everyone to be a light, right?
Yeah, I want people. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I want that to happen versus being an influencer or whatever. And then it's like, oh, this person's here. Is like, I want to try to be like that.
But
versus I'm a light. I can be that.
Yeah.
But technically, the word influencer, that's what it means. Essentially, it's
but it's just the way it's used.
You're like an influencer.
It just got manipulated, right? This whole bullshit.
It's like, you said with, like, capitalism.
It's so hype, man.
But also,
it irritates me.
The thing with, I think, the social expectation part, it's such a big topic for me, like especially coming to Korea, because I think up until forever, I think I always valued just living my life in my own pace, and because I've always been a very ambitious person, so I never thought I was slacking off. I always felt that I was doing something, and you know, it was always like a choice. Like, you know, I would, you know, taking my time with ABC, that's fine. It's my pace. Doesn't mean I'm less worthy. Doesn't mean I'm less important than, you know, that's just kind of how I thought. But then coming to Korea, it's kind of like timing is everything, and you have to be at a certain place in life at a certain age. And I think even just in the dance community as well, everybody's also worried, like, if I turn 25, I need to quit. I need to move on with my life. Or like already at like 18, 17, they're worried, you know? And I'm like, dude, here I am as like a 30-year-old in the same room as these kids. And I'm like, and then it goes both ways, you know, like.
You feel the tug a bit.
I start feeling like, am I even allowed to be here?
Right.
But that's what I feel like is always a little bit lacking in Korea, like a space to just you know, just
Express
kind of
yourself, just be
express
open.
yourself and
Right.
kind of be outside of that social
Yeah.
expectation. But when I start seeing all of these social expectations inside the dance studio, it makes me really sad.
It's very like
Yeah.
homogenous groups where it's like all
Right.
people are the same age, all people
And
of
then-
the same area.
And then it's also like everybody has to dance the certain way.
Yeah.
Everybody has to be physically a certain way.
Right.
And I find that very limiting because and then when I see these like kids saying they're not good enough, I'm like, dude, stop.
You're crazy.
No, you're
Yeah.
amazing. Like you don't have to
Damn.
go on a diet. Don't please do not go on a diet. Like you do not have to lose weight. You
Right.
are beautiful just the way you are. And I think these are some things you cannot like I feel that outside of Korea, you know, it's tough to generalize, but like I did feel that when I was in Sweden, when I was in the US, it was a little bit more diverse in terms of life, or you know, like, and you can kind of be a little bit like, you know what, I live my own life. I live my passion, and that gets applauded. But in Korea, when you say that, I think the response is usually like, wake up. Wake up.
Wake
How are you
up.
gonna how are you gonna live? How are you gonna do this? How are you gonna do that? If
Yeah.
everybody's getting married and you're not, like, what are you gonna how are you gonna, like, don't regret in the, you know,
Yeah.
there's a
Right.
bit of that, but it's something I'm trying to navigate, and I'm trying to stay firm in my own like
Right.
belief.
Yeah.
But it's so hard when the society is just
Constantly.
weighing on you, and you end up feeling like, am I
and
wrong?
and a lot of that's like a battle with ego, and it's like you have to kill your own ego.
Right.
And that's where, like, I have times personally where it's like there's things that I'm doing, whether it's like modeling, or if I don't get a gig or something, or I'm around other groups that make me feel uncomfortable because of how successful they are financially or status wise, and then I come back to realizing, like, what does success actually mean to me?
Yeah.
And you have to, and those are those introspective moments where you kind of step outside of yourself and you're like, all right, why do I actually feel this way? Why do I
Right.
feel like I can't be in this space? It's like, oh, because I'm in an environment that isn't allowing me to grow. I'm in an environment that is in a box that's only for these people. Cool. Let me make my own box.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Let me make my own box.
I was in, like, I ran with a friend like last week, right? And she was like, she said the funniest thing. She's like, oh, you know, I thought, you know, running with you would be, you know, like like uncomfortable. And I was like, why? She's like, just because she thinks like I'm a really good runner, da 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 da. And then she's like, but then running with you is like, it's so comfortable. And I was
Right.
like, oh, okay. And she's like, what about you? And I was like, I didn't think anything of it.
Right.
Because it's like, I think a lot of times, especially in Korea, people try to digest you very quickly and very easily
Yes.
with your MBTI score, with your blood
Yes.
type, with all these little telltale about someone's personality, so they can quickly digest you and know how to talk to you and they can put you in a box.
Right.
And it's like, for me, I watch people's actions, I see what they do and all that stuff, and I let them build their own box.
Yeah.
Kind of deal. And it's like, but it's just a funny concept, because like for me, it's like, that's like the one thing my mom always taught me. Love you, Mom. Was that you trust someone until they give you a reason not to trust you. You know, and that's something I've really held on to. You get burned a bit, but you know, at the same time, it's like, if you come up with these prejudices or these stereotypes or just any other like expectations about someone before you've actually met them or connected with them or even tried to connect with them, you're closing doors for you that you didn't even know could be there for you, or opportunities.
Right.
You know, because I think that anybody,
Uh-huh.
as much as you might dislike someone or you might not get along with someone, there's always one thing that you can connect on.
Right.
That can connect you, and then boom, it's like, oh wow, we're actually not that different. And that's the big thing about you're saying, like, with these homogenous groups, it's like we're gonna create that thing that makes us all the same, versus us finding the thing that makes us the same. Maybe you dance a certain way that I like too, but maybe you're a little bit older, maybe you're a little bit taller than I am, so actually we can't be there. But I feel like superficially and artificially, like, we end up
Grouping
on very external things that are just like, oh, this is easy, so we're going to group all these people together,
Right.
and then we're going to make that be the root connection of who they are.
Right.
Versus like we have like run groups where it's like based on age, based on where you live and stuff like that, and it's like,
Right.
And not even just run groups, but just in general, like friend groups. Like in Korea, I've realized that a lot of relationships
Yeah.
are based on kind of how you met them. There's not a lot of mixing that goes on.
Right.
Like if you got your high school friends, you got your elementary friends, you got your work friends, you got your extra activity friends like sports or dance or jazz or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of mixing with that.
No. What's your next challenge? Like your personal.
So this touches into a bit of why I'm doing high rocks training but not doing high rocks.
What's high rocks?
High rocks is essentially
High rocks.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's like CrossFit, right?
CrossFit. It's like HIIT workouts kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
So you have like 8 stations and you do running in between the stations. It's like
Okay.
a kilometer.
Yeah.
It's like a big competition, so it's like a sport.
It's just suicide,
competition.
basically.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So I told myself in the beginning of the year that I wanted to do a 100-mile run. So it's like 160, 167 kilometers. But in Korea, they don't have that many here. So then at the beginning of the year, I was kind of thinking, well, dang, how am I going to get this? How am I going to make this happen? And so I was looking into doing one in like New Zealand or in Australia. But again, it takes a lot of time to go there, get acclimated, all that stuff. But then recently, Trans Jeju, they extended their regular course, and now it's like they have a 20K, a 70K run, a 100K run, and now a 100-mile run.
Wow.
So I signed up for that, and it's like that's my big challenge for the year right now. That's like one of the challenges that I was like, okay, that's something that I want to do. And then besides that, just anything that comes, I'm just making sure I'm in the right position for that.
Yeah.
And so I'm doing these like high rocks trainings and running still, so now this year I decided to do at least 11K a day. Just because again I got a little too comfortable with doing 10K a day or more. So having that standard up a little bit and just kind of trying to mentally prepare myself. Like I said earlier, CrossFit, you know, it's not about making your body stronger, it's more just your mind. And you know, just because like it starts at like 9 p.m. on a Friday, and so I'll be running through the night into the morning, and it's just my big goal is to do 24 hours. And that's what I think we chatted a little bit about. But yeah, that's
runners.
Yeah, those are my people. But yeah, so that's my big thing. And like I said, like my greatest experiences in Korea, my top 5 have all been centered around movement. Like the first time me and my friends decided to cycle from Seoul to Busan. Had no idea what the hell I was doing. I didn't even remember the last time I rode a bike. Like I bought like a $600 bike, and I was like, oh damn, I don't even know if I remember how to ride this thing. It was like in Mokpo, and I remember like trying to ride it back home, and I was like, oh god, because I've had a car, you know, since like high school, like since sophomore year. And so like doing that and then doing the run or doing the cycling trip, it was just like the first day we cycled, it rained. We cycled like 70K. Oh shit. And I looked on the map and we were still in Seoul, and I was like, what the hell did I get myself into? Like how can I get out of this? Is it too late for me to just grab a bus, you know? I think I'm a punk for like leaving early. And then the next day we hit this really nice hill, and just riding down it, I was locked in. And so from then on it was an amazing experience, and just doing that and accomplishing that was amazing. And so that's up there. And then the first marathon that I did it on a track.
That's that's crazy.
Yeah, that's wild. So I did that, and then, but more importantly, like the first 50K that I did, going up Halasan, where it's like, I was like, oh god, like how? How am I gonna do this? And then just doing it, and then just that feeling of knowing like I did that. You know. Like, damn. And then the 100K, and then the Seoul to Busan. Like those are experiences where, like you said, you don't know if you're gonna do it. You have this idea of what you think you can do. And it's like, and then when you do it, it's like, it's empowering. And it's like getting to a point to where there's 2 things. One, about runner's high. And then 2,
runner's low?
No. 2, just like confidence. So 1, I'll talk about confidence first. knowing that you can do something is so empowering. Like I said, when I first tried that half marathon and I got to 16, I was like, oh God, it seemed impossible.
Yeah.
I remember June 6th, of 2021, my grandpa, he was non-responsive. He was on kind of like all the stuff. And my stepmom, I called her and she was in the hospital with my grandpa.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was like, hey, you know, I was telling him what I was doing. Obviously, he's just listening. And I was like, you know, he was a big coach in our town, and he's one of the reasons why I'm active as I am now. Because he always pushed me to be, not necessarily be athletic, but to be a leader and like how to be not an effective leader, but how to be a good leader in general. And just being active. And so I was telling him, you know, I'm doing these runs every day. And at this point, I'm like maybe at day 200 or something, somewhere around there. And I was like, you know, it's because of you that got me into track and, you know, doing this, I'm running for you, you know, da-da-da. And then I start hearing the whoa. And so he's like, he heard me. And I remember I got off the phone and
tears.
No, I was just like, I'm going to run a half marathon today.
Damn.
And so I went to work, got out of work, I just started running.
Yeah.
And when I finished, as soon as I finished, just tears.
Oh.
I don't know why. It just came. It was like kind of like my body telling me like I'm proud of you kind of deal, you know. And yeah. And then the next week, I did 2 half marathons.
Oof.
And then for a bit I was doing like two a week, you know, and just, but again, because I knew that I could do it. I'd been to that point.
Right.
And I'm still alive and I was still good and I was still able to run the next day. I was like, what was I so afraid of? You know, like I can do it. Like, you know that you can do it. And that's very empowering.
Yeah.
And then 2, runner's high for me isn't this elated state or elevated state of like, I'm all powerful, I can do whatever I want, just being high. No. For me, like my runner's high comes from, because a lot of times it comes when you're in a challenging race or you're going a long distance or something. Like you've been running for a while. And it's like, I'll get to a point to where if there's something challenging coming up or I know I still have a bunch more to do, I start thinking about all the stuff that I've been through, all the stuff that I've survived, and it's all running with me. Left, right, behind me, it's all there. All the stuff I've overcome in my life. And then I look at that one little obstacle that's in front of me, and I'm like, none of this stopped me, and you're not either. And that's where I get that sense of just that empowerment from that. That's my version of runner's high.
Wow.
And so yeah,
I've had 2 runner's high moments when I used to run. One of them was where no matter what situation or circumstance you were in, you just had to run. That was one of the highs that I felt, where I was like, I was going to work, like I was in the army at that time, and I had like I was wearing long pants, right? But I always kept shorts in my bag. I remember always like running in the morning, shower, work, and then in the afternoon, wherever I was, I would have to run. I remember one day I was like, I had dinner plans with someone, ate dinner, and then I was like, I'm done. I'm going home. Hell, I'm gonna run. That was like one of the highs that I felt. And the other one was it was always in the morning when you feel like everyone's asleep or everyone's just like going to work. That was always like a high you feel where you're just like, damn, like I'm already doing something whilst everyone's like sleeping. You know what I mean? Like this, you're getting the hardest thing done first thing, right? That was always like a good feeling that that kept me going.
Yeah, I connect with that a lot because it's like I used to never go to the gym in the morning. But then when I started doing the running, I was like, well, damn, if I'm running after work and if I want to go to the gym, if I go to the gym and then run, I'm going to bed super late. So I was like, well, I just made a choice, and so I started getting up early and did it for like a week and kept doing it. So now I go to the gym in the mornings, and there's again that feeling of not necessarily you're better than other people,
Right.
but it's just that you've done a lot for yourself already, to where people wake up so that they can go work for someone else.
Right.
You woke up early so that you can invest in yourself to go to the gym or to go running or to do some reading or do something
For
on your
yourself.
time.
Yeah.
You're not waking up because you're going to go work for someone else. That's a part of it, but it's like you're getting up early so that you invest more time in
Right.
yourself, kind of deal, and that's empowering in itself as well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, that quote, I remember that. I think I read it somewhere. Someone posted it, and it was like, like waking up not to go to work, but waking up for yourself.
Yeah, it's
And
huge.
And accomplishing something challenging first thing in the morning kind of gives you the power to accomplish anything else
Snowball.
that comes in your way
Snowball effect.
throughout the day. And I remember that was like so strong for me in my head that I was for a while motivated to go to like I don't know if you know Sleep Boost, but it's kind of like an F24 kind of F24
F45.
F45 kind of thing. It's a similar concept where you book a class and then you do like a run
circuit,
of different. So I did that like every morning for a while, but I'm like not a morning person.
Yeah.
So I did it for like a while. Like I did it for like a good like month, I think. And I just completely afterwards I was like, but I think I should. I think I should, but I remember I was just like a crankier person,
Right.
like because I was so tired. But I think I should have, like there's a point where you have to kind of like get over that. But I'm such a night person, so my sister is a huge morning person. She likes that feeling of doing something when everyone's asleep, like in the morning. I hate I hate the feeling of I'm already awake than before everybody else. But I like the feeling of when everybody has gone to bed, I'm still awake. I like the feeling of being the only one awake in the dark.
Night owl.
I'm a complete night owl. And then my sister is more like
Morning
when the
bird.
morning sun is rising
Yeah.
and everybody's asleep, that's her happiness. So she would always like do yoga in the morning, and I'm always like writing something, like writing a story or something at night. That was like a huge difference between me and my sister. I wish I wasn't a night owl, but I always have this tendency to like really enjoy the cozy nights much more than the fresh morning. But I wish I should.
I think it's a bit of a temperament because I
should.
think those things you can adapt.
Yeah.
But again, it takes like 21 days to create a new habit kind of deal.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing kind of with what you're saying is like, and I had this, let's see, how should I say this? I had this, some friends I've tried to do to get really into health. And the biggest thing is your why. Because you'll be motivated all the time. Like tomorrow, you might be motivated after us having a conversation to go run or to wake up early. But it's like, why do you want to do this? Like what? Like that has to be rooted in something concrete internally and intrinsically for it to really make a change.
Right.
And so like I've had friends that have tried stuff and then it's like, oh, well, this happened, so I couldn't do it.
Right.
And it's like if your why is strong enough, you can it's one of my favorite quotes is like, if your why is strong enough, it can overcome any how.
Yeah.
Like, how do I do this? How do I do that? My why is strong enough. It's like you have to be stronger
100%.
than your weaknesses, kind of doing like your excuses and all that stuff. And it's nothing like that. But just like in general, doing the running, and it's gotten to a point where like you start to prioritize what really gives value to your life and stuff, and you find a way to make it happen. It's like one of the big, like the 75 hard. I remember my friend Lynn, she's kind of doing a similar thing with it's called Somewhere Peaceful. She's doing it in the UK now, where she's having like groups meet up and stuff like that. But I remember in December of 2021, or not even December, like in October, she's like, hey, let's do 75 hard. She's like, let's start it at the beginning of 2022. And I was like, all right, cool. You know, I was hyped for it. But as it got closer and closer, because again, I don't like to say things that I'm not going to do. And I remember it was like December 27th, I think. I went for like a half marathon run, just like on the Han. I hadn't moved here yet, but I just got a job here. Or I came here to interview. I got the job. And so then I went on the run, and I was like, why am I hesitant to do this 75 hard challenge? And I was like, and I was going through all the things, and it's like, I was already running and going to the gym, so I was already working out twice. I didn't really eat terrible, you know. I drank a lot of water already. I was listening to audiobooks. What's so different about reading a book, you know? And I was like, well, damn, is it the drinking? Because there's like no alcohol for 75 days. And so I remember sitting there, and I was like, well, shit, do I not want to do this because I need to drink to be social with people? And I was like, no, that's not it. Am I not wanting to do this because I want to drink, or I need to drink so that I can meet new people? Or, and I was like, no, I can do that without that. Is it because I don't want to not drink because I don't want to have fun, you know? And I thought about it, and I was like, it's none of those. And I was like, well, damn, do I not want to do this because, or it's like, do I not want to do this because I want to drink so that I can be hungover? Is that the reason why? You know, is that what I'm getting out of this? And then I was like, no, screw that. Let's do this. So then I remember getting done with that that run, and I called my friend. I was like, hey, we're gonna do it. January 1st, we started, and that's when I started that. I tried that half marathon.
Right.
Oh no, I'm sorry. That's not it. But January 2nd we started, actually, because we went out January 1st, but January 2nd we started. and then yeah, because like you don't want to do like the 31st and then start over kind of hungover on the 1st. So we started on the 2nd, and then yeah, man, and just and especially doing it like that because you had to do 2 workouts, and one of them had to be outside. Yeah. And so it became where it's like it's easier in the week because it's routine, but on the weekend when I want to go. My friends are going to this, you know? Yeah. And it's being able to go and being in those environments and staying true to who you are and keeping the promises you make to yourself. And with that, you know, finding what you really want to prioritize in your life. And so you, like you said, you find a way to make it, like in your empowerment where it's like you feel good because you're up in the morning, you know, working out, running or whatever. Right. I get that a lot when it's pouring, raining, when it's snowing outside, and I'm out there running. Right. And it's like, because you're saying, you know, you're not letting excuses get to you. You find a way. Yeah. And the thing is, you find a way in the silliest ways. Yeah. Like you probably find a way the most inefficient way possible. Right. But you learn and you get better at it, and you learn through that. Like when I first started running, I got shin splints and knee pains all the time. And it's because I realized, well, shit, I actually don't know how to run. Yeah. And you learn how to get through that. Same with like your dancing.
Yeah,
you know,
I also went to the hospital.
Yeah, you know, it's just like, well, it's easy to start. I told it's to my sister's birthday this week. Yeah. My sister with my mom. It's her birthday this week, and I told her she's really gotten into tennis. Love you, JoJo. She's really gotten into tennis, and I told her, I was like, she's like 15 or 16 now, and so it's getting to that point where the sport isn't just fun. Right. You know, because it's easy to start a sport and to get into it, but it takes a lot of effort, a lot of grit, a lot of sweat, and a lot of hard work to become great at something. Yeah. You know, and it's like some people don't want to do that, which is fine. Right. It's completely fine. Right. But I told her, like, if you want to be great at it, you have to be willing to put in the work. Yeah. You know, like I said, it's easy when you start. It's like, and then because you see so much progress when you start. Right. You see so many people that'll cheer for you and all this stuff when you start something. But when you get to the point to where it's like, all right, I'm okay now, and you want to elevate that, that's when it gets harder. That's when you don't have as many people cheering for you. You don't have as many achievements that you see that show that you're making progress, but you know that you're making progress. And it's the same with, like, when I go running later today, a lot of people are like, oh, what number is it? And it's like, I don't, like,
I'm not looking at
day
the number,
one feels like it was just yesterday. Because it's like every day, like, there's this thing, every day is day zero, but it's like, I know that I'm a completely different person, mentally, physically, emotionally, all that stuff from day one than I am now. But it still feels like today's day one when I go running, because again, I take every experience for what it is. I allow it to be something that I digest internally with what's going on with who I am. In the morning, it's like, how do I prepare for the day?
Yeah.
That's what I think about running. At the end of the day, I think about all the stuff that happened, all the interactions I had, or if there's something I'm trying to work through, then I process that. And it's like, I don't think that we as people really allow ourselves to digest our day. And I think that was the big thing with COVID. COVID slowed everything down, circling back, I know, but it slowed everything down and it made everything quiet to where, well, damn, did that really just happen like that? Is this? And I think that's what made the Black Lives Matter such a big thing. It's like there was a lot of injustices that were happening that were being covered up by a lot of distractions in the world and stuff like that, to where now, at that moment, it was just like, boom. You know, and I think now we're getting back to a point to where there's a lot of things going on in the world now where we're being distracted, not to get too political, but we're getting distracted by things that are just kind of taking our attention away from the real focus of who we are and what our lives are. And again, it goes back to realizing that we are the ones that attribute value to all of the things around us. You know?
But hey, bro, when I told you to come on to the pod, I didn't tell you about our tradition, right? About the gift.
No, Tammy told me. I was like,
oh yeah, okay. So
I thought it was gonna be Old Fairy Donuts. I was like, yeah, that's the best gift ever.
I realized today on the way, I was like, damn, did I tell Zay about the gift? But
no,
you told her? Nice.
No, I was. We were talking about donuts, and then I was like, "Did Hugh tell you? What did Hugh?"
So I just sent a screenshot of what you sent me.
And then I was like, "Oh, Hugh forgot to tell him," so I just told him.
Yeah, because it was very conversational, and there was like, "Hey, pull up." So we asked our guests. This particular time, I forgot to ask you. But
what are you talking about?
We tell the guests to bring a gift that they can give to the next guest, and our previous guest was Jiyoung. She's a dear friend of ours, and she's an English teacher. She's on Instagram, on TikTok, and she prepared this gift. It's something.
It's not donuts. Oh,
she lives around this neighborhood, and this is her favorite coffee brand.
Trip bag, Brazil. That's crazy. I've actually always wanted to go to Brazil. Respect. Preach.
And there's another thing behind
coffee. Should I open it like now?
I think you should open it now. Yeah.
Boy.
Jiyoung will be watching this, so you can say hi.
Hi, Jiyoung. I'm gonna rip it like I did the box over there. Yo.
Oh. That's cute.
Oh,
these
are
are
like things.
Oh my god, that's so cute.
Nice.
Is that pineapple?
No,
it's a flower.
Flowers. Oh, that's actually really cute.
Being a single guy, I definitely don't have things like this. Definitely gonna be very notable at my place. I like it.
This would be for your morning tea.
Yeah, I
and
can have
your
my little
evening
morning
tea.
coffee.
Well, morning coffee, evening tea.
Big love, Jiyoung. Do I share mine?
Yes. You can share yours.
All right, so again, because this whole journey kind of halfway started, and it's part of the reason why I'm still here in Korea.
Wait, let me hold your mic for you.
Okay, sorry. Thank you. So I didn't bring an Under Armour bag, but I did bring a Frisbee disc. Just because this is kind of what led me to stay in Korea longer, and it's led to a lot of different journeys and paths that I never would have thought it would have been possible, or where I'm at now. And it's like the simple things and the simple decisions that you make, and then just kind of sticking to them, and like I said, keeping the promises you make. So this single disc, not this specific disc, but playing this sport and interacting and meeting new people has definitely led me down a path that I'm happy to take. So yeah, big love.
That's really nice. Oh my god.
I didn't bring a bag though, sorry.
I haven't touched a Frisbee in a while. That's
so nice.
So hopefully whoever gets this has a similar experience to where maybe they try to play and maybe they're not that great like I was when I first started, and they meet some really cool people along the way with it. So yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
make sure to pass it
Thank
on.
you. We will pass it on.
Thank you,
This is
thank you.
2019, pre-COVID.
Yeah, so that's really when I first
Damn.
started getting into frisbee
That's
in
awesome.
2019.
You know, I love it when our gifts start getting very personal as well. Like it's
Yeah.
not really about like it really comes in package with the
Right.
previous guests' stories. So I think this is going to be a wonderful gift for our
Is
next
this not a
episode.
plate for donuts?
I think it goes both ways. I think
Yeah.
that's
Time out, are
the
there more donuts?
that's the you have it's like this. You have the
Old
donut
Fairy,
and then you
please send
pass
me
it
more
on to
donuts.
Ah, I
to
see.
this,
I like the
patch.
peanut butter and I also like pistachio and raspberry. So if you ever need somebody to sample donuts, I got you.
Damn.
And I
Plug.
guess I mean even if this wasn't sponsored, just thank you, Old Fairy Donut. I had a
Thank
bit
you,
of
Old Fairy
a,
Donuts. We love you so much.
I had
Best
a
Yeah.
bit of
donuts
a
in Seoul.
fiasco today morning, but really appreciate that we were able to get donuts for today's shoot, and hopefully we'll get more down the future for more donuts.
Shout out to Matches. This is a great
Frisbee.
spot. I hope to come by here soon.
Yes.
And Yenna, thank you. You did an awesome job.
yes,
Even though you
thank
didn't pick my donut. Same for you, Hugh.
No, but she can taste a little bit more and then see because she had it with the raspberries.
Yeah.
Wait, did this one fall out?
So yeah, so we'll just continue eating.
Yeah.
We'll stop recording here, but we'll continue eating and just chilling a little bit. And yes, we'll do that.
All right.
Great,
That's it.
thank
Thanks everyone.
you.
Bye.
Work, 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 work.